Hmm? Ah!
You're listening to the Run for Your Lives podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And this is the Run for Your Lives podcast.
This episode, we are talking about the science fiction horror film Alien Romulus, written and directed by Fede Álvarez and released August 16th, 2024.
And we're covering this one because it's part of Pake's Oscar watch, and it makes it a lot easier for him to get through that list if we're also covering those movies.
Yeah, because this is a weird place to begin our Alien coverage, because we haven't done any of the other ones. So it's a weird first Alien movie in the Run for Your Lives roster, but it's Oscar season, baby! And so, yeah, this one was nominated for visual effects for this year's Oscars. So it's on the list, and we're going to knock it out while we're doing those, because we did Nosferatu last week, and then we did The Substance late last season. Got to get the Run for Your Lives movies that are Oscar nominated this year out the way and talk about them. Have a good time with them.
So I think this is the third and final one that we're doing, because we looked at the list. I don't think there's anything else that we can do.
This is it. Still not a lot of horror representation in the Oscars, but I mean, 3 is still pretty good.
Yeah.
With one of them being a Best Picture nominee. That's great.
I know, I'm excited for that. I know it probably won't win, but it's cool that it got selected, and I'm happy that Demi Moore got the nomination. So yes. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. So yeah, this one's on the list, so we'll do it. And again, it's a weird place to start as our first Alien movie. We'll cover other Alien movies in the future, for sure. We will double back around and
We have a few more. This is number 7 in the Alien film franchise.
Yeah. But even chronologically,
it's like in the middle.
Yeah, this one falls between Alien and Aliens. So it's a real weird place for us to start with these movies, but we do what we do.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually 20 years after the events of Alien. So it's in the year 2142.
Mm-hmm.
And might as well jump right into the production notes. It was filmed in Budapest and Viszonta, Hungary. It won the Saturn Award for Best Horror Film, and as Pake said, it's nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. The budget was $80 million, and it grossed $350.9 million, which I think is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
119 minutes long. Pake, give us a synopsis.
While scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonists come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah. And it's funny, you mentioned like the profit that the movie made being notable, because I think I saw this is the highest grossing Alien film since Aliens.
That's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
I know that when Fede Álvarez was working on this one, he did consult Ridley Scott, who directed Alien, and James Cameron, who directed Aliens, because he kind of wanted to get the vibe, I think. Yeah. And they were approving of what he was putting together, so he was happy with that. Mm-hmm. And I also love that Benjamin Wallfish, who did the score for this one, pulled music from all the previous movies, like in different ways, and integrated it into the score throughout. So that made it even more tied into the essence of the Alien franchise.
Nice.
I mean, and we're talking just about Alien, not any of the Alien versus Predator movies or that crossover.
Which are technically not canon at all.
No.
Because Prometheus and was it Covenant? Like, pretty much undid any, like, weird canon that AVP put in place. So, yeah.
Still, AVP is a fun movie to watch, and we will probably still cover it. It's just not something that's part of the 7-film franchise that this world is built in.
Yeah. We got a lot of Alien movies to cover. Should be fun, although I don't know if Alien 3. We'll see.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I've seen stuff about it. Where I'm
okay.
Yeah, a lot of that does not hold up.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it'll be a series we run through anyway and have fun with.
I mean, we did do Sharknado.
We did.
So.
We did Tremors 3, so.
Yeah, we did.
Bad CGI is not a reason to avoid a movie necessarily.
Exactly. Oh my god, I'm still picturing. Oh, the flying ass blasters, and oh, it was rough. Sorry, Levi.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the effects in this one were not something to be upset about. I thought for the most part it was pretty well done.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason it's nominated for Best Visual Effects.
Yeah. Maybe because some pretty cool effects studios were behind it, like our friends at Industrial Light and Magic, as well as Tippett Studio, Weta FX, Atomic Arts, Image Engine, Fin Design, Wiley Co., and Metaphysic, I think, is the last one. It's pretty cool. They did some great work on it, and yeah, I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Phil Tippett, the stop motion in live action king. I mean, of course, Jurassic Park, one of the greatest of all times that he had a lot of a hand in. And then, not this podcast, but we talked about Phil Tippett when we had our little stint on the Star Wars TV cast.
Yes,
for
we did.
Skeleton Crew, because there was a great giant creature in one of the episodes of Skeleton Crew that was a Phil Tippett creation and did an incredible job with it. So yeah, give him some love in multiple places. That
was so much fun. We talked about his Mad God here.
Yeah, we did that as well. And then, so his what he put forth into this movie, of course, was the mouse on the screen that was like crushed and then regenerated. That was all stop motion stuff that he was behind. So
of course it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fede Álvarez also reached out to the special effects crew that did Alien so he could kind of, again, connect. He wanted to really build things, and there are lots of little callbacks in this movie to other films and even the video game and the franchise. So I think he definitely did his homework. I know that he has ideas for a sequel, but he wants to be mindful, with the timing in between of Alien and Aliens and just making sure it makes sense.
Yeah, it's hard to do something new and unique that adds to the universe without stepping on the toes of the continuity between the two movies.
Yeah. I guess Steve Isbell, who is like the head of the studio, said in an interview in October with The Hollywood Reporter that a sequel's in the works, but they have to firm things up with Fede Álvarez first. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Fede Álvarez is a great director, and I mean, he doesn't have a ton of films on his list, but he was responsible for the 2013 Evil Dead remake. And he gave us Don't Breathe, which is a film from 2016. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's definitely
I need to.
Definitely a Run for Your Lives movie, and Dylan Minnette is in it. So, yeah, I think we definitely have to cover that.
Now Wallows is playing in my head.
I had a feeling that was going to start. One of the things before we get into the characters, I just kept getting hit with this question: what makes a person? A person is real, but then we have synthetic, like android people in this, and this consciousness that we get with the synthetics, and the question of how real was Andy, because I feel like to her, he was her brother and she loved him like he was real.
Yeah.
And yet other people treated him so differently. And I just kept getting hit kind of in the head over and over with people being different and being treated differently. And in this day and age and the way that things are.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about Andy, but yeah, the only advocate really for his realness that he had was Rain.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, Bjorn was very outwardly rude and
mean.
Aggressive towards him. But even Tyler had moments where he would just say, "Oh, he's fake. He's not real." Like he was about that. I'm trying to remember if Kay said anything. Maybe not outwardly, but I mean, definitely you could feel like she backed up kind of her brother's thoughts there. And then one that was kind of I just happened to read about even Navarro. Where she has that moment before they take off and she kind of holds her ring and is saying that prayer in Mandarin. And somebody had translated what that prayer was. And it was basically, please protect the 5 of us. And if you count Andy, there were 6 there.
Right. She
was not including him in her prayer for protection. And I think Rain, the way she responded to that prayer, she understood what she said, and there was kind of this look of disgust after that.
Yeah. And Andy, I think, was more than just an android, more than just a synthetic. He was Rain's family, and she treated him as such.
Yeah.
We learn later in the movie they I think he's named because the droid style or the synthetic style is ND255. And I think that's why they call him Andy. I'm assuming that's why he's called Andy.
I just was he's an android named Andy. It makes sense. That's what I would name an android if I was just coming up with something real quick.
So, yeah. Here we are.
This is another one where there's a lot of just everybody together ensemble situation where it's hard to really break up a lot of stuff character to character, at least especially with Rain and Andy. They're almost like a duo, but then I do have separate stuff, so it's again one of those things if we just do Rain first, it's well, there's this thing in the beginning and this thing in the beginning, and then an hour later there's this thing and this thing. It's yeah, I think so too. I think so much of them are a tandem. And to me, they're the main 2 characters. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have some notes on Tyler. I have some notes on Kay and the others, but I just threw them all together in one section.
It really wasn't. To me, this was about Rain. This was about her getting away because she's in this situation where she's. I mean, is it a work outpost? What?
Yeah, we don't get an official layout of what's going on, but it's a mining colony.
Yeah.
Where they have to work enough hours in order to get travel rights to then go elsewhere.
Yeah.
How her and her family found themselves in that situation, we don't know. If it's an indentured servitude kind of thing, or if it's just the way of society, we don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's the kind of the plan is we're here, we put in our time, and her parents had died in the mines, and it's just her and Andy. Mm-hmm. Her and her brother, as she even refers to him. But then, of course, she reaches the quota, hits the mark of the hours she's supposed to put in, and she's like, cool, I've put together, we get this plan, we're going to go to this other place. We're going to go to, I have it written down, Ivaga 3. Mm-hmm. We're going to go there, and which Ivaga, I think, translates into heaven or paradise. So that's kind of the idea of, it's this beautiful place, aside from this, where we can finally have good things and things that we want. And so when she goes to get this, travel confirmation, they're just oh, yeah, we just went ahead and raised your hours needed quota, so you're actually going to be here another 5 or 6 years. And at that point, she's that's bullshit, and we're not doing that anymore.
And they're sending her to the mines.
Yeah.
And the mines are where her parents got the lung disease and ended up dying.
Mm-hmm.
So the chances of her being able to even live after that, who even knows, like, how long it takes. So she's there. It's like death, like, basically, that they're sending her to, and she knows it.
Yeah.
And so now she's just not sure even what to do, other than she can't do that.
Mm-hmm. So luckily she's got this group of friends to some extent. She seems to be pretty close with Kay to some extent, and then Tyler as well. But like Bjorn's just like a dick from the get-go pretty much. But he's there. He's part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she just kind of has to rely on them and this plan they come up with.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be such a simple little thing.
Mm-hmm.
We found this wayward ship that we can go to and get cryo pods, and we can go to Uvaga.
Yeah, which I guess people are free to come and go from the surface because they get in their ship.
And no one stops them.
And then just go up there. So I was like, I guess people are free to go. I'm just sure this, what is it, Jackson's Star Colony. Yeah, where they're like, yeah, people can come and go out from the surface, but like, we're not expecting them to actually get anywhere. You know, like this is where they'll come back to. This is what they have.
And they need for Andy to go too, because he speaks Mother, which is this language that all the ships run on, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they're using him, but they don't even treat him very well. Like, I just feel like
he's just a tool. He's a screwdriver in their toolbox.
Yeah. But they know what they need, and they're going to go for it. Mm-hmm. They talk her into it because all she can see and think about is having to go to the mines and knowing that she won't probably survive.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not really given a choice. This one thing that really struck me is when they were on board the Corbelan 4, which is the ship that they're taking, she gets to see the sun. Yeah. And that just, I think, reaffirms...
That's a big deal, because we saw in the kind of little data scrawl for Jackson's star, where it, gave like population and kind of what it was, and then it said hours of sunlight per day. 0.
Yeah. I mean, it's like she's living underground like a mole, basically, already. Because
the place is just like covered in this like toxic layer of gas to where no sunlight can break through that atmosphere and get to the planet or the star itself. Like, it's just what they have.
And Tyler kind of talks her into doing it. And it's I think she just finally gives in because she knows that they're never going to let her leave. Like, she'll be there till she dies. And so at least this will give her an opportunity that maybe they can get away.
Yeah.
But they have to have the cryogenic pods because they have to go into cryogenic sleep because it takes a certain number of years to get to where they're going.
Yeah, 9-year journey, which they don't have the rations and a way to really just go for that kind of journey right on their own. They need the cryogenic stasis to get there. So that's really the plan. It should be an easy in and out. Of course, the outpost, the Romulus Remus ship that they find is outpost here. A lot bigger.
The Renaissance is what it is. It's called, I think, it's the Renaissance, and it's split into 2 pieces. There's the Romulus and the Remus. Mm-hmm. And there's a little sign that says, "Twin brothers born to God of War and a Vestal Virgin." Mm-hmm. And that's all it says, so I went and looked it up a little bit more, and it really has to... The names...
Yeah, it's all the Norse mythology and stuff.
Yeah, it's actually Roman mythology.
Roman, okay.
And the story is kind of based around the founding of the city of Rome. Mm-hmm. And Romulus killing his brother, Remus, in an argument over which city was going to be bigger or better or whatever. And
Norse mythology has their own.
They do.
Wolves, Hati and
yes,
something whatever. They're like the sun and the moon. That I had it in my brain like this, like mix up for a second. But Romulus and Remus. Well, his wolves. Everybody's got their wolves.
Everyone's got wolves.
You have two wolves inside you, and one of them is the sun, and one of them's the moon, and they're brothers, and they have an alien spaceship.
Yeah, she had an impossible. I mean, she had a choice: stay here and probably die, or at least try for this, and she chose to go for it.
Yeah, and
again,
like I said, not as easy as they originally planned.
Yeah,
big spot.
We learn, too, why Bjorn is so mean to Andy, and it has to do with his mother and the other and something that happened. But,
his mom was part of a group of miners that was kind of being led or guided by a synthetic. And something happened to where there was like a leak or some kind of situation where his mother was one of a few people, or if not one, that this synthetic decided for the good of many to seal them in. And so she died in that situation in order
to save 12
preserve
others.
The other people. And so, of course, so he has this just innate hatred
bias and hatred
of synthetics because of that decision that was made that took his mom from him.
Yeah. And Bjorn does just treat Andy like a tool. And lets out this terrible secret that I felt so bad for Andy, even if he is an android. That he's basically can't go to Yavaga because they don't allow any Weyland-Yutani property there. Because he's not a real person. He's artificial. He can't go. And I just felt so bad for him.
Heart was a little broken for him there, too. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No.
And Rain she's so protective of him.
Well, but she even knew that. And so it's added to the heartbreak a little bit because Rain knew that was going to be the end of this and she didn't even tell him.
No. But again, this all came about so fast.
Yeah. But even then, even if this wasn't the original, even if they would have gone and gotten their own travel stuff from her hours, she knew that he wasn't going to be able to make it to the end of that journey. She's known about it.
And she just didn't tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered about why. What? She keeps telling him about how beautiful it's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
What is the point? To hurt him? When she has to break it to him that he can't go?
She'd have to eventually. Yeah, it's just this fear of not wanting to hurt somebody. So you hold off and hold off and hold off to the point that now you've reached the point where the not telling them has become worse than the damage you probably would have done by letting them know the truth early on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's rough.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you don't want to hurt someone and you just want to keep the good vibes going for as long as you can without having to, rip the Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great all these years and stuff, but surprise, you decommissioned now. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. She treats him like a real person to a point. I think that's the point. By not being honest with him about that. Yeah.
But, so kind of jumping around, we're not even sticking with Rain. Which, so we'll come back to certain stuff. As far as them going up, getting the fuel, quick version, they find the fuel, or they find the
cryogenic pods.
They find the pods. They don't have enough fuel to make the journey, so then they've got to go deeper in to find fuel for the pods. And they do, but in the process end up kind of tripping an alarm, go into an area that's off limits, which then starts heating up the cryo chamber that they are locked inside. Even Andy can't get them out. Again, he doesn't have access to it. So Rain and Navarro have to go back in after them. And she gets the module from the other synthetic, from Rook, who is one of the same models of Ash, was an interesting, again, with the visual effects of like taking the young face and kind of mapping it on. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy over that.
Mm-hmm.
Over them taking Ian Holmes. Yeah. And that some people, I mean, they had permission to do it, but there are fans that just felt like it was wrong.
Kind of like Tarkin in Star Wars, or Leia as well. Like using that,
they actually used scans from Lord of the Rings. Like, they were things that they did, and people were just not happy about it. They didn't think that they should have gone that far because they thought that it didn't look authentic. It didn't take me out of the film.
No, not really. I don't think so. I mean, chronologically, again, if you're trying to make sense, like, what synthetic would be on that ship at the time.
Yeah.
Because they use the same ones, with Ash throughout those. And then if you go back even like the prequel kind of stuff with Prometheus and stuff, it's all the Davids. So it's
authentic to what it should have been.
Yeah.
I think that they did what they should.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did a lot with it, though. They had CGI, and then there were, like, deep fake AI technology.
Yeah, it's just so much stuff.
Yeah. And the voice, of course, was not Ian Holm, but, yeah, Rook was quite a character that they put together.
Yeah, a lot to it.
Parts and pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also, through doing all this, they let loose all of the little projects he had, all his little pets, his face huggers he had in cold storage in there. Face huggers galore.
Yeah, they'd been trying to understand them. They had been studying them and experimented on them, trying to understand how they worked, and this was the same xenomorph. Like, I don't know if they came from that same xenomorph but I know that the xenomorph that's on the ship is the one from the original ship.
I guess it would have been Ash, right? Alien.
Ash.
Saved, at the end of that, had a couple, like, those little face huggers that he had, like, stowed away and saved. And so I think they may have been, like, kind of clones of those, because there's, like, 2 of them or something that he had then, at the end of that one, right? So it's like...
Yeah.
I think it was something like that.
Yeah, and then the xenomorph that she kicked out of the ship at the end, that's the xenomorph that's on the ship that they get onto. And of course it did what most xenomorphs do. At one point when I'm writing notes, I just started writing it as Zen because I got tired of writing it all out.
Writing the whole word, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So I'm like, yeah. At some point, the xenomorph just started doing what xenomorphs do, which is escaping and massacring most of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got the acid blood.
So they do kill it, then, we see what happens there.
Yep, acid blood, that's what happens. We have the xenomorph as part of Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Nostromo ship crashed on a moon. It's very interesting because the xenomorph in the game has an acid tail and is very lethal, and you have different things that you can do, like to try to keep it away from you. But it was cool to see some of that in this movie. Yeah. Because I haven't seen Alien or Aliens in a very long time, and I've never seen Prometheus. So there are a bunch I haven't seen.
I saw Prometheus in theaters, and that's the only time. So it's been since 2012. Yeah,
long time.
But so facehuggers galore out. They get Navarro. We'll skip over that stuff for now. We're talking about Rain. Yeah. Are we though? But
I feel like we are
trying to.
So much. I feel like it all kind of goes together. In some ways. Yeah. So it's hard.
Yeah. But then we have, so Navarro and Bjorn end up back on the Corbellin, whatever. And pull out from there and end up just through lots of chest burster xenomorph fun times, wrecking it right into the Romulus and just setting everything, because they had like 36 hours before the Romulus and the Remus were going to collide with the rings of LV-410, which was like the whole planet that Jackson Star colony was on. These rings there. But then after like it pushed it off course from the collision, they're like, okay, now we have like 20 something minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fun. Fantastic.
Yeah. It was like 47 minutes, I think, until the station was going to hit the belt. Because it's funny because there were 2 times that Bjorn fell, and the first time he fell, he says, I broke my asshole. And then he fell again, and I'm like, and Bjorn breaks his asshole again. Because it was a similar type fall. Yeah,
I just had the note on that of Bjorn and Gravity are really not getting along in this movie, are they? Not friends.
Gravity is a thing. That we know.
Yeah. So the collision course with the rings has been pushed up significantly, timeline-wise. So now we've got to try to figure out how do we get to the ship in the escape bay. How do we get to it, get out of here? Also, make sure, find anybody who could still be alive on that crash. They don't know what happened to any of them. Get back to the ship and get out of here. They've got a sea of facehuggers to deal with at first, even, which they see by heat signature and sound. So they're like, well, we can heat up the room to our body temp to blend in, which I don't know, maybe was a better plan than dropping their body temps to room temperature, because we've seen how that can end up in a lot of different ways. Thanks Earl Bassett and that dude from Splinter.
Yes. Yes, that's how we learn things.
Yeah. So maybe their idea would have been better, except tensions get really high and things go to hell, which, makes
people
makes
call at the wrong times. They get on the walkie-talkie at the wrong time.
Yeah, they're trying to get there, but then Kay's in danger, so like the tension and the talking on the walkie, and then Tyler is like sweating and like reacting to what's going on there, so they give themselves away. And so Andy says, to quote the great modern philosopher and poet Aaron Bruno, aka AWOL Nation, run.
Yes. Yes.
And then just, it becomes this plan of trying to get to them. They get to Kay, sort of. There's a door between them, and it's a whole thing, which we can talk about Andy and stuff a little bit later.
Yes.
But they do, and Andy makes the call to leave her behind in order, again, it's this synthetic making that call, because he's not really Andy at this point. He's merged with Rook. And so he's got this new directive now, and that's what's best for the company, and that's making sure that these people are safe in order to take this Z01 and get it back to the colony. But I love the line. I had to write it down, though. It was like, after Kay is taken, there's this moment where Rain and Andy are riding up the elevator together, and she says, how could you do that? And the way he looks at her goes, what, leave someone behind? I was like, ooh, damn, touche.
Yeah.
This coming right off the heels of him learning that they had no intention of him getting into Ivaga. So,
yeah. I mean, it really was the perfect timing for the perfect line.
Yeah.
And it hurt her because she really does care about him, but it's a complicated situation when your brother's an android.
Mm-hmm. My brother's an android, coming soon to ABC.
No, they did that already. It was called Small Wonder, and it was a little girl, and she was a robot that, did stuff around the house. And her name was Vicky. Oh my goodness.
So then they've got to get this, again, just building this plan of how do we get out of here? How do we get this where it needs to go? So, Andy grabs the guns and hands them to Tyler and Kay, which aim assist in real life on the guns. That's cool. But then Andy gives them to use as a scare tactic against the xenomorphs, because we shouldn't actually kill them, or, acid blood burns a hole through the bottom of the ship and we all die. So maybe don't do that if we can help it.
I get why they wanted to use it as a scare tactic, but I'm kind of like, are you really sure?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah. On their way out to escape, they do find Kay alongside the whole Romulus and Remus crew, encased within the nightmare catacombs of alien birth. The place where the creatures have all deemed as the location for which it is time for them to say, it's xenomorphin time.
Oh, boy.
And they run across Kay, and she hasn't been impregnated. Well, a second time.
No.
Yet.
She hasn't. Unfortunately. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And then it just the action keeps going, because then it becomes, well, bye-bye, Tyler. He gets snatched up. Leaving, Rain and Kay to get on the elevator as Andy was taken down, at least, knocked down and put out of commission a little bit during that skirmish. And so, Rain and Kay get in the elevator and leave Andy behind. Mm-hmm. Which, after their conversations and after that, Rain can't do. So,
no,
she stops it, sends Kay on her way to get back to the ship, says, even if I'm not there in time, you put yourself in cryo, you autopilot it back home, and you go get help. I'll find another way. You go. She's putting Kay first, and then she goes back for her brother.
Yeah, the problem is Z01.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pay attention to the video of the rat?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see the after video of the rat that they showed us while they were leaving the room? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you knew that it was not going to work. Right.
So the new directive that Andy's following is you take Rook's Z01, which is a synthesized version of the black liquid that's in the xenomorphs, and it should be used now to genetically alter human beings to be able to be as adaptive and regenerative and resilient as the xenomorphs are. So you take it back to Jackson's to get it developed and continue to be worked on there. The only problem is, Rook totally forgot to mention that it's highly unstable and definitely doesn't work. Just a little side note he forgot to include in the mission log there.
And so Kay is injured after being in the labyrinth of the birthing canal for xenomorph reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems, Andy wants to give her the injection. And
25% of human genome is shared with rats. And it worked on the rat. And I was like, I turned into Chris Hemsworth, the Thor meme. Did it though? Did it really, Andy?
Yeah, no, it definitely did not. So I kept saying, please don't inject yourself. Please don't inject yourself.
Mm-hmm. Which they stop her from doing. They stop Andy from injecting her then. But then, when she's left to her own devices, then she does anyway.
I mean, and she's pregnant, so I was more worried about what it was going to do to the baby, and I was right to be concerned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We will talk about that for sure. Kay gets back up there to the ship, and Rook is no help at all. Or at least not even to Rain and Andy, where they're like, okay, we'll just take the elevator. And he's like, no. It's like, you sent the Z01 with Kay, so she's got it. We're not going to risk even more by you getting there. It's like, I'm going to take over the ship. I'm going to get her out of here. And some of you may have to die, and I'm okay with that sacrifice, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yep.
But Rain does think of a plan, thanks to the incredible power of puns. So we learned a lesson here, Daphne. See, they are very important, and they save lives. Puns are very important.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was all about the gravity, right?
Yes.
Shut off the gravity, and now there's just acid floating around everywhere. Until the next gravity purge hits, and then it'll tear a hole in the floor and we all die. As we said earlier, still a thing, but
temporary solution. Yeah, temporary solution.
Bought a little bit of time, so it is definitely let's GTFO fam, for sure. Go flying up the elevator shaft, feeling so light and so free. And then, gravity. It is a real downer sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they had seen what happens when with the gravity purge. So they knew.
Yeah. And Andy's able to grab a ladder in time. Rain, not so much. However, she is rescued from falling by a real sweetie xenomorph who just wants to make a new friend. I mean, technically, I'm not wrong, right?
You're not. No, you're right. You're definitely right.
Make new friends.
I thought she had gotten rid of them all. Like, she had shot up so many of them before that I wasn't sure there was going to be one that lived. But, yeah, there was.
Yeah. So then, things seem bad, but then in comes Andy with the save. And I love get away from her, you bitch. Which, of course, I said it before he did. I anticipated it, and it still was as awesome as I wanted it to be.
I know.
Like, I was like, he's going to say the thing. He's going to say the thing.
He's going to say it, yep. Of course he was. Of course he was going to do it. He had to.
Yep.
I thought it was really cool how they were navigating through the acid blood. Like, she was climbing a pole, and then she shot the gun to make herself go below the blood and the acid, which I thought was really cool, too.
Yeah.
And I did think it was cool that the xenomorph caught her and saved her from falling. I'm like, okay, sure. That's fine. But Andy also was holding on to that elevator to keep it from crashing down on her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, makes sense to a degree. It's like they can't use her as a vessel to make more if she's dead, so... True. Do what you gotta do. But yeah, they make the escape at the last minute, and then instead of going back to the colony, they give Rook a fuck you send-off, and they're headed to Ivaga. That's the plan.
I did think that send-off was great. I thought the whole character of Rook, though, was kind of weird, because I thought he was truly dead when they first, find him.
Yeah.
And then, nope, there he is. Oh.
He was in standby mode. Reserving battery.
Must operate on Windows technology, probably.
Yeah, and then getting back up there, and it's like, all is well. They got back, and they were headed to Ivaga, and everything was happy butterflies and rainbows from then on out, right?
Well... See, I happened to look at how much time was left, and I knew that it was definitely not going to be happy-go-lucky rainbows and unicorns.
That's true. I was like, man, 25 minutes of credits after this? That's going to be crazy. And then, no, that's not how it worked. And instead, I was wondering, and if I'm honest, I was kind of hoping that they would do something super fucked up with the pregnancy situation. And let's just say, and I'm only a little sorry for this one, they delivered.
Proud of yourself, aren't you?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I can tell.
Definitely.
Yeah, I said Kay gives birth to a larvae alien baby hybrid.
Which, of course, burns a hole through the floor into the cargo bay. Which destabilizes the whole ship thing. You've got to drop the cargo bay to get the autopilot back on. It's a whole sci-fi, sure, let's go with that situation. I kind of want to watch the pitch meeting on this movie. I know it exists, so I definitely do.
It came up.
Yeah.
It came up on YouTube.
What came up on YouTube right after I watched this was New Rock Stars, Eric Voss breaking the movie down, and I didn't have time to watch it, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, I might have to. But yeah, the pitch meeting, I bet, is great. But yeah, she goes down there to kind of investigate, because of course she was like, we'll just kill it, get rid of it. But I think what really messes with her mind is when the egg thing opens, and it's like, at least at first, it just looks like a normal newborn baby. And so she's got to investigate. And when she gets down there, the baby's gone. But it did leave her a nice steaming hot bowl of pumpkin soup, so that's very sweet.
Yes. I think one of the things that we learned earlier about that drug or compound is it's built or based on, part of it has to do with the metabolism that a xenomorph has. And so I think the baby, I think that affected how fast it went from baby to hybrid. And it makes me go back to what we saw with the original chestburster that came out of Navarro.
Yeah.
And you see, I think it was Kay?
Yeah, Casey's like...
Casey's
it had
like
already shed one skin. I was like, already? I was like, yeah, we're going to be dealing with a fully grown xenomorph before too long.
Yeah.
Quickly working.
So I think this was showing like how fast. It's part of the how fast it adapted.
Because this wasn't a xenomorph implanting anything in her. This is because she took the stuff, the Z01. That's what did this. Yeah, and then I don't even want to give a play-by-play on the final fight between Rain and that horrific abomination because I could never do it justice. Just if you're listening to this and haven't watched the movie, watch the movie and just enjoy all of that. So much tension, crazy action, great creepy stuff. Just bravo, Alien Romulus on the Rain versus Alien Baby Beast.
Oh my gosh!
It's great.
Yeah,
it's just so great.
I started taking notes and I put she makes a little hole. And I never took another note.
Yeah, it's like I have my phone in my hands to like, I do all my notes on my phone to like want to try to, and then it just, that whole sequence starts playing out. It just set my phone down and just like, I'm just going to watch this and take it in because this is great.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know if Kay was infected or if she was going to be okay after.
I think if she wouldn't have taken the Z01, she might have had a chance.
Yeah.
Do the cryo freeze and get her somewhere she needs to go.
Yeah, but that thing, like, bit into her and fed off her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't you know that's your mother? No, it didn't matter. And that thing, that hybrid alien xenomorph baby with a face? Oh my god. Where did that? Oh god.
I mean, it kind of was like reminiscent of you said you haven't seen Prometheus, so
I haven't, but I did read. It's
very much the engineers from Prometheus kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, that's what I had heard and read, so I'm assuming. Incredibly creepy. It's not something I want coming at me down the street.
Yeah.
Even in the daytime.
Yeah, and then another last second escape with the autopilot kicking back on, and then we get our happy-ish ending. It's kind of this, well, now Kay is dead, and Andy's dead for all intents and purposes. He might be able to be saved. The module is still, salvageable, so she pulls that out and just hopes to hold on to that and see if somebody can do something with the body once they get to where they're going. Does Rain ever make it to Ivaga 3? Can she fix Andy and have him there? We may never know. And
nope, no
that's
idea.
okay, I think. If we don't get that sequel, I'm fine with it. If we do, I'm fine with it as long as it's good. We'll see.
Yeah. I think if the same people are involved, that gives it like a chance.
Yeah.
But then sometimes that doesn't work.
Yep.
You kind of wrinkle your nose and go, oh, it had so much promise. The characters were great, and then they destroyed them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's, I mean, with the ending of the movie there, because it's credits, so that kind of covers Rain, what I had.
Yeah, I think we have to talk about Andy a little bit more.
Which I've thrown in some of my stuff, but yeah, right off the bat, I was like, well, I already like Andy, because he's a pun guy, so already in his corner deeply.
He likes those little jokes. And does. I knew that you were going to bond with him immediately because of his little jokes.
Oh, absolutely. To where, like, early on, like, I was getting a little, like, frustrated, again, with just, like, heartbroken about the whole situation, but then when I was like, they keep saying things like, Andy's not real, and he's a fake person. I was like, hey, synthetic or not, he's still very real, and he's my precious angel, and I want him to have the whole freaking universe, so how dare you?
And his main directive that he was given by Rain's father is to do what's best for Rain.
Mm-hmm.
And she changes it at the end to do what's best for us.
Yeah.
And even though he was synthetic, she still couldn't leave him. Like, she was not going to be able to leave him.
Mm-hmm. And we get him kind of rebooting through the whole facehugger initial breakout, which, you know, we got facehuggers and they're huggy.
They definitely are.
Almost got Bjorn and Tyler a few times. Bjorn zaps one off of Tyler's face and briefly incapacitates Tyler by doing so. He wasn't the smartest guy.
No, he definitely wasn't. He didn't act fast enough when it came to Navarro.
No. Yeah, because as they escape the area and the huggers, one of them gets through, latches onto Navarro, and this new updated Andy has a little bit of information on them. So he notices it's not killing her, and he tries to get everyone to, like, calmly find a solution without harming their friend. So that he has the idea to, like, well, let me talk to, like, the system that's giving me these ideas. So they awaken Rook, the ship synthetic, and he's able to tell them exactly what they're dealing with. They get the hugger. I just called it the huggers a lot of the time. I was like, I don't have time to type face in front of everything. They get it off of Navarro, but the damage may already be done. Yeah, definitely was.
But that sets Bjorn off because Andy explains that she could already be, you know, they can't take her with them.
They can't take her because she's a liability. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so once again, Bjorn is dealing with a synthetic choosing the sacrifice of a life of someone he loves for the greater good of other people.
And he freaks out.
Of course he's pissed, and so he zaps Andy. It only temporarily sidelines him, but still, like, you can see that deal. And I didn't ever pick up on this in the movie. I had to kind of find out, like, the relationship between them. Because I was like, the way that they were, like, between each other, I was like, is Bjorn and Navarro, like, a thing? No. She's actually his adopted sister.
Yep.
Which then leads to the crew of this movie here being 3 pairs of siblings.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting dynamic.
And Tyler was actually Rain's ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
At least in Wikipedia world.
At least according to that, yeah.
According to Wikipedia.
It makes sense.
But I didn't see them, like, having these moments of, oh, we need to be together. I mean, there was none of that was really, like, explored, I don't think, and I think that was fine. I liked it focusing on something a little bit different.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we see Andy's main objective updated. We finish the mission that Rook and his crew have with the Z01. Run. Talked about that one. Andy 2.0, I was calling him there, after he was kind of mixed in with some of the Rook information, got a little creepy in quite a few moments.
Yeah. There's definite difference between the two, because Andy was kind of glitchy at times, and the Rook version of Andy was much more controlled and working and functioning. Yeah,
they established Andy as a malfunctioning synthetic android. And so we see his hand shakes a lot, which then goes back to Alien of like, oh, the older models got a little twitchy.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, David Johnson absolutely killed it as Andy. I don't know really much anything about him. I think it's the first thing I've seen him in. Would definitely love to see more from him because he was my character of the movie and cast member for sure, I think.
Yeah, he was great. I had seen Kaylee Spaney. She played Jessie, the photographer in Civil War.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's going to be in season 2 of Beef.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but I think this purposely cast a lot of unknowns in the grand scheme of things, which, it's cool.
I like when they do that. Gives them a great opportunity to kind of stand out. And
yeah, it was big shoes for her to fill to basically step in as the Sigourney Weaver, but I think she did a great job.
She did. I thought that she was solid. I recognized her, too, for playing the main character in The Craft, too. The Craft was a really big
Yeah.
90s movie and The Craft 2 was a sequel to that and was good in certain ways. Like it was decent. But
Yeah.
I think that she definitely did a great job in that role here.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to be a Ripley.
Yeah. But I think that's all the notes I honestly have on him that I haven't already talked about in other combination of Rain earlier.
Yeah. We can talk about Bjorn.
I just threw all of them into
all
one
of them
section.
together. Okay,
Yeah.
Then let's just go through that.
Yeah. We meet them. They're the one that noticed this Wei-Yu ship, as Tyler calls it, when they like find the scam, the Weyland-Yutani.
Mm-hmm.
Floating unmanned. I was like, well, it's probably the one that we saw that the probe that picked up the cocoon at the beginning of the movie went to, and it probably went, well, exactly how you would expect it to go. So.
Well, as we talked about earlier, you get a xenomorph, and then it wakes up and massacres everyone.
Mm-hmm. It's just, at this point, you know that's what's going to happen. Why are we...
Yeah. Why are you even doing anything different? Like, come on, you know what's going to happen. It's going to escape. It's going to massacre. And those that aren't dead are going to die because they're going to be used as, like, cocoons for reproduction. So...
Yep.
Yeah, it seems a little strange to me.
Yeah, that's where we meet. Like, Bjorn right off the bat is a bit of a dick. And it's funny because I paused it, wrote down, Bjorn's a bit of a dick, isn't he? Unpaused the movie, and literally the next line is Tyler talking to Rain going, I know Bjorn can be kind of a dick. And I was like, yes. Like he read my mind.
Yes, because he was. I mean, I had a feeling he was going to be the first to go.
Mm-hmm.
I just...
Not quite, but close.
Yeah, I mean, just because he was such a jerk and so aloof and willing to do whatever, like, even if it didn't make sense.
Yeah, he wasn't a stoner, but he fits that horror trope of the stoner character.
Yeah.
Who's just too dumb to survive. Like, that was his trope role in this.
He's trying to electrocute the xenomorph without knowing what was going to happen or what could happen or even thinking about what could happen after.
Yeah, R.I.P. Bjorn. It was brutal, but yeah, I said, you mess with the xenomorph while it's hanging out in its wall vagina, and it will acid goop on you till you have a painful, horrible death.
Yes. Right in front of Kay, who's dealing with, like... She's pregnant. She's got morning sickness. The ship had crashed. Mm-hmm. She wasn't doing very well. Like, she was having issues.
Yeah, and that's before she fell out of the back of the ship and bounced around on the way down for a little bit. Oh my
God. I'm like, how is she still even alive? And the baby. And then I thought maybe she shot that into herself because she thought the baby was dying.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm like, that might have been better.
Yeah. And so they didn't explore too much of the pregnancy thing. It was there for the big monster reveal thing at the end, for sure. Oh my
God, that thing.
But even I was thinking, like, early on when Rain first finds out she's pregnant and is talking to her, it's like, well, yeah, it as a character, it gives her another reason for her to really be willing to take these risks to get off of that colony. It's this mindset of, we need to be looking for a better life for this new life.
Exactly. There was a time, though, that she had a moment that she and Bjorn were close. And I wondered if he was the one that she slept with.
Yeah, I don't know, because when Rain asks her who the father was, and she only responds with, some asshole. And that was it. And it's like, I guess he does fit that bill.
Yeah, definitely he does. He does, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Bjorn, he didn't want to leave Navarro behind. It's his sister. Makes sense. Yeah. Understandable. So then he chooses to abandon Andy, Rain, and Tyler. Not cool, bro. No, I don't. That's not a great trade-off. And then by taking Navarro back to their ship and then undocking, I was like, well, you pretty much just doomed the two of them, and unfortunately the resting Kay, who also stayed behind. So, way to go, dude.
Yeah.
Way to go, dude.
the ship goes bouncing around and banging into things, and Kay gets all banged up. She tries to help Navarro, but there's no helping Navarro. Navarro says, please don't let me die. And I'm like, oh, God, you're going to want to die.
I got some bad news for you.
Oh, it's going to come busting all out.
Mm-hmm. Busting makes her feel bad.
Yes.
Yeah, and then last was like, I just took a note right after Kay did it. I was like, and Kay takes the Z01. I was like, that won't be a terrible decision at all. Totally can't see that going tremendously bad.
No, not at all. When they get back on the ship and Rain, is getting ready to go into cryo mode herself, Kay's pod starts going off, and that's when Rain finds out that Kay actually injected herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, this is not going to go well. I know it's going to be bad.
Well, that's character notes. I've got a few other little things that are Z notes.
Z-notes? I have to tell you, I think, I've said it before, I think the effects were good in this one. And we don't often or always get to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes
would you say they're Academy Award worth good effects?
Potentially. I don't know.
Academy Award nomination?
What is it up against?
What is it? Why do you ask me that question as if I would have a handily, readily available note document on my phone where I can immediately look up exactly everything that's nominated in any given category within 5 seconds?
And that's a brand new phone, too.
It is.
You had to get more room for all of your notes.
So yeah, visual effects this year. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Wicked, and Alien Romulus.
I think as far as classic effects, when I think of effects, I think this movie fits, what I consider to be those classic Hollywood effects. However, some of the other ones that you mentioned also have really good practical effects and CGI, so I don't know.
Stacked category this year, we'll see.
Yeah. And it's not going to be that much longer before we do see.
Yep, not long at all. I'm doing good. Because again, we record well enough in advance that by the time this comes out, it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
But as of now, so this is February 6th, 7th, depending on time frame, is middle of the night, when we're recording this. So I've still got almost a month left, but I'm at 31 out of the 50 done so far, so I'm doing good. We'll see.
Yeah, and this episode, I think, actually comes out the Friday before the Oscars.
So, hey, we came in right on the wire. We did it. We covered all the Oscar noms that fit before the ceremony happens. So,
right?
We did it. Yay, us.
So when this episode comes out, it'll have our feedback attached to it, what our listeners thought. And you can give everyone an update on where you landed.
2 days before
the ceremony. I hope you're done.
Hopefully I'm done.
I hope you're done.
I hope I'm done at that point.
Yeah. I hope you're done. I guess we'll see.
But yeah, just I think a couple of little xenomorph notes. Just again with the opening of the movie with this probe ship going into the wreckage of the USCSS Nostromo and retrieving the cocoon there that had kind of formed floating around out there.
It's a really bad idea.
Mm-hmm. And then even when they get onto Remus and Romulus, I was like, oh, it seems like some highly corrosive acid of some kind did a number on several floors of the ship. Who could possibly know what that could have been related to?
I can't even understand. What are you talking about?
One hell of a chestburster scene. R.I.P. Navarro. We talked about, how quickly the thing grew. Bjorn's brutal death. And then Kay escaping after that, the ship, and then falling, and then the sprinklers waking her up, and her just trying to, escape. And it's great scene, great sequence of her, crawling underneath the platform, and the xenomorph is on the platform above her, kind of looking for her, and it's I did my little xenomorph. What was it? Is it it's not Family Guy, is it? Maybe it was Family Guy. I don't know, that did the whole weird xenomorph with that top hat, like, oh, hey, like, kind of thing.
That sounds like something that Family Guy would do.
And so it was kind of like a character like that in my head, the way, because he has those, look at my grill. Your what? My grill. What? Your grill. Those like metal teeth.
Was, yeah.
But he's just got that like smile, and so I did my own little voice for the xenomorph looking for her, and he's like, hey, okay, you there? Somewhere? Let's hang out. Okay, I'll be over here. I got the snacks covered. I picked up some Bjorn on the way out, so I'll catch you later, girlfriend. And catch her it did. After Andy refused to open the door to let her in.
That was really sad, because there was enough time.
Yeah. Well, as he said, because it was kind of, the xenomorph was like gargoyling in the back over there a little bit, watching the conversation go on. And as Andy says, is that's what the creature was waiting for us to do. And I was like, man, Andy 2.0 is gold. Even though she's pregnant. And then I was like, oh, and then before anything even happened, I was like, oh yeah, she's pregnant and the xenomorph's after her. And so my brain was already running. I'm like, ooh, that could make for a really fucked up yet interesting situation with the whole, like,
yes,
eggs and, kind of growing. I was like, what are they going to do with this? And then they took it a different but equally fucked up direction. And so I applaud them for that.
There was also this scene where Rain was ahead of like some smoke, white smoke. And in the back behind the smoke, you could just see flashes.
Yeah.
Of the xenomorph, and I was just like, oh, that is beautiful. That's really well done.
Yeah, well, that was like the hybrid thing at the end too, I think then at that point.
Yeah, it was
great. But yeah. Wonderful. I did enjoy this one.
Me too. Me too. It makes me want to go back and do a proper like run through of the series. So we have to do that.
Definitely, we'll have to do, because I mean, at least Alien and Aliens.
Yeah. And
Prometheus for sure, because you haven't seen it. One of the rare moments where we can do Daphne hasn't seen this and I have moment. Those don't happen a lot.
No, they don't.
I haven't seen Covenant actually yet, and that takes place between Prometheus and Aliens.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
That one could be fun. And then as far as Alien 3, and then what's the one after that? Starts with an R, I think, as well, but I don't remember the exact title.
It's at what? Resurrection?
Resurrection, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, haven't seen those, but I know a little bit about them to know, like, do we gotta? But maybe.
Maybe we will. I mean, we covered things like, I don't know, The Happening.
Yeah, so. Could be
and
fun.
Trap. Yeah,
another
so I feel like we can
series to play with and do some stuff with. We should.
That sounds good. I think we will.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, other than that,
are you?
Unless you got any other?
I
notes?
Don't. We have talked about it.
Well then, again, almost as if on a perfectly timed cue, the feedback phone.
Oh my gosh!
Ringeth. Let me go. See what they say.
Go get it. Okay.
All right, we do have some feedback this week. One for this week's movie for Alien Romulus, but before that, we're going to go back in time to the past two movies. We're going to have feedback for this whole season so far, every episode of the season.
It's great. Thank you so much for sending feedback in. We're getting to hear from someone we have not heard from in a little while, so I'm super excited. Yeah,
we're playing a little catch up with longtime listener Tony, which is great to hear from you. So yeah, she's going to give us some thoughts on some of our previous episodes this season, or really all of our previous episodes this season so far. Starting with Long Legs, which she has to say, I finally got around to watching this, and honestly, it really wasn't for me. I thought it was a bore. I thought there were huge plot holes and coincidences that seemed far-fetched to ever be believable. The main character was like the worst FBI agent ever. She didn't seem emotionally stable enough to carry a gun. Nick Cage is playing Nick Cage. What did he do that was so impressive? He technically wasn't even a serial killer. The devil was. He was just the doll maker.
The devil and the doll maker.
That's my new damn name.
Okay. You can put that on your list.
All right. But no, good thoughts. All valid, I guess, to some degree. Yeah.
Appreciate you sending in feedback. We also heard from Tony about Nosferatu. She says, Nosferatu is on Peacock, so here are my thoughts. It was beautifully shot, and the look and feel of the movie was dark and sinister. Count Orlok was a frightening and hideous monster, very different from how most vampires are portrayed, in a tuxedo and cape, dark and dashing. Lily Depp was incredible. That opening scene was beautiful and disturbing. My only complaint overall was it was a little long and it burned slow. Or maybe I watched too late at night, so I'll take the blame for that. She followed it up with the following after she listened to our coverage. She said, I was wondering, have you seen Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola? Or have you read the book? Both are excellent and subtly different, but it is the same story. I read Dracula a long time ago. I don't remember seeing Bram Stoker's Dracula, so maybe that's a movie that we can cover at some point.
Yeah, we should. I haven't seen it. I feel like I should have, but yeah, haven't gone back and watched it. But yeah, because I think I did talk about that a little bit on that episode of being basically, I mean, because we talked about like Bram Stoker like suing because Nosferatu was a blatant ripoff of Dracula. Yeah. That's what that, like, the original Nosferatu was.
Yeah.
And so it is very much like beat by beat the same story. And then they've kind of grown like separately but equal, I think. Like Dracula's still a much more recognizable name, I think, but like Nosferatu is still there. It's like it's the same story with just kind of a different telling by different people, but yeah. All intents and purposes, Nosferatu is just somebody going, I'm going to do Dracula, but change the name.
Yep. Exactly.
And then we do have one for this week, like I said, with Catherine, of course. Give us some feedback for Alien Romulus, who says, this is my second watch, and I still couldn't keep all the characters straight. I found a text to a friend from my first watch, which is still pretty accurate. The beginning was meh, the middle was good, and the ending was wild. I love the relationship between Rain and Andy, but I'm disappointed in the lack of Katz and Jonesy references. I look forward to hearing about the special effects and the actor who played the final Xenomorph.
Yes. I hope you liked the episode. Catherine, thank you so much for sending in your feedback. And I'm about ready to tell you where you can submit your feedback, except he's alive, folks. Steve Brown has sent us feedback. So, here it comes.
Hello, Run for Your Lives. This is Steve, and this can be for Alien Romulus. I think I watched this before, but I don't remember anything about it. So I think this takes place between Alien and Aliens. Is that right? I don't know. Oh, very reminiscent of the beginning of Alien with the computer waking up. It's like they just went past the wreckage of the Nostromo. I saw Romo. I'm assuming it's not Tony. So they pulled something out of the wreckage that couldn't tell what it was. There was an image of something in that rock. She wants his cornbread, and this guy's giving bad jokes. I couldn't read that whole thing. Something about a mining colony. Oh, what a shaft. Somebody reaches their required hours, and you double it so that makes them stay longer. Yeah. Okay, so they're going to go up in a ship and try to get the cryosleep beds from the wreckage of the Nostromo so they can... What? Oh, okay, it's not the Nostromo. It's a decommissioned satellite. What? So they're inside the ship, there's zero gravity, and they're going to get these pods, I guess. Oh, and the gravity just turned back on. And now they're on the floor. Oh, and they're turning everything back on, though. Okay, what does that mean? The station is divided into two parts, Romulus and Remus. What does that mean? Oh, so Andy the android, synthetic artificial person, isn't allowed where they're going. That's not fair. Oh, Android just saved your life, dude. You're being a dick to him. Acid for blood. Oh, so what's in this cryo chamber? Oh, so that artificial person just attacked Rain when this module was in him. What's going to happen when they put the module in Andy? Oh, and apparently these cryo chambers had facehuggers in them. Oh, looks like Andy rebooted just in time to catch that one. Oh, and it won't let her take the module out of him. And one of them has a facehugger on him. So, yeah, that's bad news. Oh, is that Ian Holm as the science officer, robot, android, artificial synthetic person? What? Wait. They just said that they found the body of the xenomorph that Ripley blew out of the airlock. How did they know? Did they get her transmission and they just let her drift? Because aliens aliens isn't for another 20 years, right? Okay, so they got it off, but now what? Okay, that escalated quickly, and she's already birthing an alien. Okay, so their ship just crashed in the outpost station. Now they have 47 minutes before the whole thing goes up. Gone. Explodes. Crashes into the rings. Oh, so Andy's going to complete the mission, but we don't know. Well, the mission's probably to get those things to Earth. Okay, so now they got a quiet place across this room. Oh, well, it's bleeding, but he didn't kill it with that glorified cattle prod. When this alien is growing fast, because it's already killed that one guy, and now Kay's trying to get out of the door. Oh, they barely made it for that door closed. Oh, the creature's waiting for them to open the door to let Kay out, Andy says. I don't understand everything this science officer is saying, but it sounds like he found a way to merge humans with the aliens. Colonial marine rifles. Well, they found Kay, but oh, it got Tyler and Andy. So Rain is sending Kay with the compound to the ship. She's injecting herself with the compound. Oh, with the gravity off, the creature's blood won't go to the ground, right? It was a lot of creatures she killed. Watch out for floating blood as you're trying to go up. Oh, the creature caught her in the gravity while she was falling, and now, he said, get away from her. But he didn't add the U-bitch like in Aliens. Oh, there it was. He added the U-bitch. Oh, and they made it to the ship. Oh, what the heck was inside Kay? I thought she wasn't able to get one in her. What creature is this? Like the one from Alien Resurrection? Oh, what's she going to do now? How is she going to blow out the airlock? What? Okay, I don't know exactly what she did, but she disconnected something and it's flying away. Oh, very alien-like ending. This is Rain, this last survivor of the Kerbalans, signing off. All right, can't wait to hear this one.
Thank you, Steve, for that feedback. We have missed hearing from you, so it's great to have you back with a message about this episode.
Yeah, thanks for calling in there and leaving us something. It's good to hear from you, Steve. Been a while, so we always love a good live Steve.
Well, if you'd like to submit your feedback, like Tony, Steve, or Catherine, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Run For Your Lives Podcast, or you can email us at runforyourlivespodcast@gmail.com. You can go to runforyourlivespodcast.com for all the links that you'll ever need. And if you're enjoying the show, tell your friends. We are available on all the podcast players, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. If you have a minute, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, as that is the best way to share the love and get us out there even more. We really appreciate it.
We do indeed. And of course, speaking of sharing the love, got to give those shout outs to things going on in the Podcastica universe around us and beyond. A lot of good stuff right here on Podcastica. Of course, the cast of us as they're continuing to get ready for The Last of Us Season 2 in April. So coming closer and closer. We're getting really excited. They are continuing the Walking Dead rewatch over there. So this week you can check out Jason and Lucy covering episode 8 of Season 4, Too Far Gone. Also, Yellow Jackets is continuing on. It's running with Season 3 right now, so you can check out the Yellow Jackets WTF podcast, as episode 4 is up this week. 12 Angry Girls and 1 Drunk Travis. And of course, Wendy, Penny, Daphne covering that one. Yellow Jackets is back. I know you're happy for that, for sure, to be back on that one.
So excited. There's so much to talk about with that show. And the thing is, The Handmaid's Tale is coming back right at like the last week of Yellow Jackets, so it's gonna be. Well, I'm gonna finish up Yellow Jackets and automatically be on Handmaid's Tale like
just
right
roll
away.
right on into it.
Yep, just gonna keep going.
Nice. Well, also on the Cobra Kai cast, we are in the final batch of episodes for the final season of Cobra Kai, so you can check out this week. Episode 13, Skeletons. Rima, Rich, and Jason continuing to cover Cobra Kai over there, so check that out as well. And White Lotus over on Max is back for Season 3. And so Jenny, Randy, and Jason have been breaking that down, so Episode 2 is out this week. Special treatments, so you can check that out as well. And then we've got our good friends outside of Podcastica that we always got to give our love to, TV Podcast Industries, with some superhero stuff right now covering Invincible over on Amazon Prime, and they just put up their coverage and review and breakdown of Captain America Brave New World, the new MCU movie. So definitely check out that coverage. And then our good friend Mark, who's running the Pirate Core Entertainment network over there, which we actually used to be a part of before joining Podcastica. Long-time listeners may remember. But yeah, Mark's still doing a lot of really great stuff over there. He's launched the What's On Tonight podcast. A lot of different people kind of come in and out and cover different shows and stuff there. Right now, Becky and Mandy are covering the HBO Max series The Pit. So they are covering episode 8 this week. You can check that out on his Adrenaline Cinema podcast. Becky and Mark are covering The Gorge, which was another one we might have to jump into sometime soon. I don't know. I'm curious about that one.
Yeah.
So definitely go check out that coverage. If you like that one, maybe, let us know. Maybe we'll cover that here as well. So, yeah, some good stuff to check out. And then if you want more me and Daphne for whatever reason, can always check us out every week over on Buffalo Podcast with our good friends Jeff and Jerry, as we just kind of talk, make each other laugh, play some games, and just take a break from movies and TV shows and just get silly with it.
We do. We have a lot of fun. I think finding joy in ridiculousness is an amazing thing right now.
But after you've gone and done all that and listened to all those great things, you can come right back here next week to Run for Your Lives, where we will have a fresh new episode for you. Daphne, what are we doing next week?
Well, when a struggling indie wrestling promotion accepts a mysterious gig at a remote venue, they realize too late that their performances have life or death consequences. As the night spirals into a brutal fight for survival, the wrestlers must use every skill in and out of the ring to escape the deadly spectacle. We are discussing the 2025 film Dark Match, and Pake and I get to combine our love of horror movies and wrestling in one episode.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So anybody who's a wrestling fan, or even not, because it's still just a great, solid horror movie to go check out, kind of an indie horror film. It's over on Shudder. If you have that right now, you can definitely go check that out. And let us know what you... I hope a lot of you at least go check that one out. And then if you got some thoughts, let us know. Give us that feedback.
Listen to the episode, because we have a lot of fun with some wrestling talk in the middle of it. It was cool to be able to get to nerd out that way.
Yeah.
And with that, we've reached the end of another fun, creepy, terrifying, monster-filled episode. Thanks for listening. I'm Daphne.
And I'm Pake.
And if you have to run, you better run for your lives.
Bye-bye.